Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of Live with Lava Sub. I'm on week, I don't know, 10 of this mask, and we're having a lot of fun with it. I've been kind of shaping this from a basic, very simple kind of mask that I had, a little kind of masquerade, eyes wide shut party kind of vibe, but I've turned it into this. After many weeks of working at it, I'm super stoked to be continuing this. Hopefully, this is last week, or the last week of actually working on this. I did say that last week, so uh, you know, I'm not can't give you any absolute assurance that that will actually happen. But we're gonna give it a shot. Damn it, we're gonna give it a shot. And if you were here last week for the stream, you know that I'm in a bit of a financial bind right now, and we have my Venmo available for any donations you might want to help me out with this situation. I also have comics and magic cards and original paintings and clothing all going for sale. That if you are more comfortable purchasing a service from us, me and my partner, um, we'd be more than happy to oblige you there. I I appreciate acts of service where you just feel like giving a little bit of money to people who are in a hard time. But I also totally I like to be able to say I've earned my keep as well. And I also have commissions, other things available if that's your bag. I Yeah, feel free to DM me, Lava Submersible, on Instagram or on TikTok. You can find me elsewhere on the internet, but yeah, those are the two main profiles that Lava Sub is tied to anyway. And I think those links are available in chat or can be. But thank you, Sam. Yes, so those should be in chat if you are looking. I'll be referring to this over and over again, and might even be showing you some stuff that I found last night that kind of blew my mind. That I forgot I had comic books specifically. I Yeah, I didn't. It's not like I forgot that I had them. It's just that I didn't know how high they were valued. Some of them kind of sent me through a loop. I was pricing some out for a friend who. So they're Ninja Turtle comics. Um, and I have a little bit of the Mirage stuff. That's like kind of the birth of the Turtles by Eastman and Laird. But I also have a bunch of I have a couple Archie. No, I just have the one Archie. Archie Ninja Turtles, which was kind of criminally underrated in my estimation as a Turtles comic. A lot of the characters and wild ideas got to be kind of tested in the Archie comics. But that one's pretty rough. I'm, not looking at making a lot of money off of that one. But the ones that I have a lot of are the IDW Turtles when they rebooted it a decade ago. I have quite a bit of that stuff, including like some of the kind of like additional materials that they were releasing through that label or that publishing house. Like the standalone episode or issues of the Turtles, where they all kind of like have their own individual adventures. I have some of the color classics where they actually went through and colorized some of the old black and white Mirage Turtles, which I thought was a really cool idea. Because those comics, especially when I was looking for comic books and buying a lot, they were really hard to find. They weren't necessarily even super expensive, but they were hard to find a lot of. Most of them had pretty small printings, especially the earlier issues before the Turtles really became a thing, But the IDW comics, I have quite a bit of it. I was a big fan of that reboot. I thought they did a really good job. Obviously, Kevin Eastman helming that project made a big difference. So that it wasn't entirely new, just kind of like coming at you, especially for such an obviously like beloved kind of franchise, hard to complain about not doing it right when the originator of the character, one of the two originators and co-creators of those characters comes back to do the reboot. Hard to say they're not like doing it right, because those are their characters, and honestly they changed so little about those comics that it kind of stands to reason that I've met very few people that are big Turtles fans that don't like that stuff. And yeah, so I have quite a bit of it, and pricing some of the ones I have out, I realized that some of the ones I have were like really limited run covers. So like the issues themselves, the most basic high prints, aren't going for a ton, $8 or something like that. But I have some that were like that are essentially just pretty rare and pretty high value. So I had to kind of tell my friend, yeah, just I haven't finished pricing them all out yet, because they're not only expensive, the ones that do exist and are being sold currently are pretty few and far between. There's not a huge amount of them being sold right now or circulated. So I kind of have something, and I told my friend, I want you to be aware there might be some sticker shock, but we're going to work together to try and figure out some pricing and see if it's still doable for you. But yeah, so that kind of blew my mind. I have a bunch of those IDW Turtles comics. I'm still working on pricing out the stack that I have. Also forgot I had the first 4 issues of The Boys, which at the time I got it. I think I don't even know if I I think it was like in the like dollar comics bins and stuff like that. I haven't checked the pricing on those yet, or like the value or whatever. But it was just kind of weird because like I forgot that I owned those. But yeah, all that stuff is going to be on my Instagram. That's where I'm mainly running the sale, because it's the only platform that's like that doesn't restrict those kinds of posts. I've found it does, but not as much as Facebook or TikTok or Twitter. Anyway, I've been yammering for some time now. Time to get into it. Last week, if you were here, you saw me work on this chin. And I'm not sure if I want to go wider or if I want to go longer. I'm still kind of making this decision with it. So if you have any opinions, drop them on the chat. Drop them into the chat. I would surely appreciate it. Yeah. But other than that, I'm just gonna start going at this piece. This is the last bit of paint that I had mixed up a few weeks ago at this point. So there's not like a ton there, but I could do a lot with it, if you know what I mean, on this mask at this point. There's not a lot of stuff to do at this point on this mask. It's basically ready for paint. But this chin is the last kind of focus that I really want to address. I like where I started with it, but I think I want it to, I guess, be a little bit more in line with the rest of the aesthetic of the mask. It almost, I think it fits, but it also almost feels still kind of just tacked on. It doesn't feel like it's cohesive yet. Like, I want it to feel like the rest of this piece, and it's not quite there yet. I think it can be pretty quickly. I think my instinct is to draw it out further, horizontally, give it a little bit more of kind of an edge to it, or that's not what I mean at all. I guess just make the angles more Interesting. Extreme. I don't know. You know, I don't know. And that's a theme also of this piece. So I don't want to know. I try not to do too much pre-planning as a rule. Talked quite a bit about that. My reasons for it. Yeah, sorry if I seem a little tense. Things were crazy the last couple of days. We had I'm out in Los Angeles, right? And it don't rain here very much. And then when it do, it's really annoying. So we had leaks through our living room, which is why I'm in this different space. Oh boy. You can't see a whiteboard off to the top right-hand corner of my screen, right? Okay, good. But yeah, so we had like what? I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We had 8 different spots on our roof leaking last night. And I'm not talking like a little drip. I'm talking like half of the containers are basically full. I had to empty 2 of them before we went to bed last night so they didn't overflow. So that's been additionally stressful on top of everything else right now. What was funny about it is me and my partner my partner mostly was going through and fitting in some new furniture that our roommate was going to get rid of, and we were like, well, we could use that. So we already had like a bunch of our stuff kind of spread out through the house. Once the leak started, we realized, well, shit, we're going to have to get everything out of that area. So we had like piles and piles of our stuff just stacked on top of each other like, you know, in our common areas of the house. Just adding additional like just visual kind of stress to the whole scenario. Yeah, I know a lot of other people, especially up north, are having it even worse than we are down here. You know, people whose like first floors have, you know, been flooded and stuff like that. So, not trying to make a mountain out of a molehill here. I know a lot of folks that could be listening right now are getting it a lot worse than we are. But still, it's very frustrating, especially because these leaks in almost the exact same spots have leaked every year we've lived here, and twice last year. So that's annoying. We've we've been in this spot. Thank you, Sam. We've been living in this spot for well, this is the spot we moved down to LA and to live in. This was 2018 August is when we moved down. So it'll be 4 years this August. Yeah, pretty wild. Yeah, talk about timing, right? Oof. Yeah, a lot of things I would do differently at this point, but can't change the past. You can only try and improve your future circumstances, which is what we're trying to do. It's tough, but I've said a few times before, I'm optimistic in a kind of way that's almost stupid. um, foolish, maybe. You know, I have a very stressy, um, easily angered, frustrated brain by nature, and I try and counteract that as best I can in whatever ways that work for me. A lot of the time, it's just, you know, looking at a terrible situation and knowing it can improve and just working towards that, no matter how aggravated or upset it makes you. You know, there's no, for me, there's no, doesn't help to dwell in it. I've done that for a lot of my life. You know, just dwelled over, obsessed over all the negative that surrounds me, and sometimes I still am there. Sometimes I'm still there. But yeah, I do know that that's not the healthy path for me. It's not what's going to actually motivate me to make those changes or live a happy and healthy life. Um, so I just try and adapt and move on and live my damn life, you know? Because what else can I do? Right? Wider, but we're gonna have to sharpen this up a little bit. Yeah, I hope everyone's having a pretty good January so far. A lot of us are going through some rough stuff, some frustrating times. So, sorry if that's where you're at too. But at least there is some solidarity in the anger and frustration you're feeling. You can find it right here, you know? We're all going through it. And fact is, we're not going to be able to get out of it alone. We're all in this together. I know that's kind of a cliche, but it's one I like and I believe in. Tell you what, it's a lot easier to get through hard times with friends than it is without. That's for sure. If you've got them, keep your loved ones close. Let them know you're there. If you're having a hard time, reach out. Even if you need to reach out to me. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm kind of an idiot. But I am 36 and have been through some pretty real shit. And we can talk about it, go through what's bugging you. I don't know if I'll be able to help you out in any way other than just being there for you, but I can certainly do that. It's the least I could do, right? Go. Feels about right. Let me take a look. It's interesting. I think I need a little more paint over here. I might go through this whole little chunk of paint today. Might even need to mix more up. Guess we'll find out in a minute, my friends. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right. Well, shoot, we might actually be able to go wide and long today. That would be fun, I think. Hmm. Funny, I'm jumping right into this. Sorry if I'm a little quiet. I feel like last week I talked so much. I got lost in it. Now, this week I'm barely verbal. Sure. Huh. Actually. Yeah. All right. I like it. I like it. Damn. That's pretty damn clean. Okay. Jeez. I don't know if y'all heard, but there's a Borderlands movie already being made. I was just talking to my. I've been, I've always like, I almost always have a file going in Borderlands. Uh, it's one of the. Honestly, it's like, especially as shooters go, probably my favorite uh, game. The whole franchise has been really wonderful to play through. I've played through all but three, which I did actually recently get a chance to play a little bit of with a friend who came into town. Um, but yeah, so I was like just talking to folks about, man, when are they going to do a Borderlands movie? When are they going to do a Borderlands movie? And then, I think my NSA agent heard me and slid me some articles through Google. Yeah, I heard Tim Roth's directing, or not Tim Roth. That would be good though. Eli Roth is directing, with Tim, the guy who directed the Deadpools. I can never remember his name. He's also one of the producers on Love, Death, and Robots. Absolutely, I mean, especially the first season, absolutely ruled. Um, I can never remember his damn name though. But yeah, so it's probably going to be at least okay. Plus, like, I feel like it would be hard to get the license to do it unless it was something that you really cared about. It doesn't seem like it was anything that they were like, oh man, the industry, we really want to know a Borderlands movie or something like that. So I think it's someone's passion project, though. Hard to say whose. I'm personally just happy it's getting made. Tim Miller, that's it. I just remember. Yeah, video game movies are getting. I mean, they've always been like a part of film since I was a little kid, but they're definitely getting a little bit more like of a treatment now, than they did back in the day. I mean, I think a lot of that is just technological advancement in like CG animation and things like that, making it more like feasible for big studios to put time and effort into that, especially when they might not do super well. Because I mean, video games make tons of money, but we're not talking about a Fortnite movie. We're not talking about a Minecraft movie. We're not talking about. I mean, they've done some properties. I feel like maybe Netflix had a Minecraft thing out for a minute. Maybe even like an interactive show. They do sometimes. I can't really remember. But yeah, I mean, I think like the Mario movie or the Sonic movie. Those are like two of the biggest franchises in gaming history. So, like, yeah, of course they want to do that. Now that technology has gotten to a point where they could do it and make it look, like the current games that are coming out, ultimately, at least that good, hopefully better. Uh, then yeah, I think that's like, well, now we're gonna bite. And also, if I'm not mistaken, Nintendo World is actually coming like very soon. Like I think it Universal Hollywood even. Uh, like I knew it's like something that's been in development since I was a teenager. Just the idea of like a Nintendo theme park. And I do think I haven't done a lot of research on this one, but I'm pretty sure they exist, or existed in some way in other parts of the world, but the U.S. Hasn't really had one until this current theme park is coming. So yeah, I think there's a lot of like cross promotion, media, publicity buzzwords that make that process a little bit more possible that they'll happen. Now, as opposed to back when I was a kid, especially like the popularity of them is never been bigger. Video games are one of the biggest industries on the face of the earth. Yeah, I haven't seen the second Sonic movie yet. Not that I don't want to. And I don't think I really want to see the Mario movie. Not that I'm even like the biggest Mario fan. I haven't played through a Mario game since Sunshine. But those games are a big part of like nostalgia for me. It's not like I prefer Legend of Zelda. Always have, always will, especially when it comes to Nintendo properties. I even like Star Fox more than Mario. Mario is just iconic. It's a character everybody knows, Mario. And he's got Smash Brothers. He's got the tennis games. He's got the soccer game. He's got it's Nintendo's iconic character. That and Pikachu. Everything else is kind of like more. I wouldn't say people in the know because fuck, everybody knows Link and Star Fox. I mean, shit, how much money did Breath of the Wild make? How much money has Legend of Zelda just made generally? I think that's just a property that you got to be really careful with. More than Super Mario. Like I don't know. I might have said stuff like this on stream before, but I think it's absolutely bullshit that they didn't allow Charles Martinet to play the character he's given us the iconic voice for like what 30 years now, maybe a little less, but for a significant part of his professional career, and it's not good enough for the movie. Come on, you're gonna get a non-voice actor like fucking Chris Pratt, mid-ass Chris Pratt? Give me a fucking break. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I definitely want to watch. I liked the first Sonic movie, and I loved how the studio listened. Like, I know that we kind of roast them, being like, we got you to change a movie. We won. But honestly, it's like they just listen, and that's a really cool thing for like, especially a big studio to actually do when they're talking to a fan base or doing something specifically for a fan base. I mean, yeah, I definitely propagate the whole bully movie studios more kind of narrative because I think we should. But also, I think that it's also great to just see that when it comes to certain things like the look of an iconic character like Sonic, they decided, yeah, let's listen. Let's listen to the fans and take a handful of months to come up with something better so that we can still, I mean, ultimately, so they can still make money, but also so that they don't have a bunch of raging nerds frustrated for a long time. And plenty of people have voiced their opinion about Chris Pratt as Mario. I'm not unique in this perspective that Chris Pratt is an awful casting choice. And yeah, so I just think it would be beneficial to I think honestly they'd have a better shot at making more of these movies if they conceded, every a little occasional point, like casting Chris Pratt, whose major involvement in the discourse over the last years is his involvement in a homophobic church, super church. I don't know. I can eat my dick. My official stance on the matter. Oh, the funny thing is most of a lot of the people are involved, and a lot of the characters are voiced by Martinet himself. And Charles Martinet is acting in the Mario movie. He's just not famous enough to play Mario. That's enough to drive me up a wall. So if I'm not mistaken, Martinet does like a handful of characters. I don't know about. I'm pretty sure Peach is. I'm pretty sure that there's still a handful of actors who do the voices for these characters, but I'm not entirely sure on all of that. Yeah, but it just makes sense that they would, have use of these people who have dedicated like a lot of their time and careers, their ability to these characters for them to respect that. I know, like that's a flight of fancy that I'm holding, but it shouldn't be that hot of a take. You know what I mean? It's one of these hot takes that really should be like lukewarm at best, but because of the bad and stupid world, it is controversial. Yeah, definitely. I haven't looked into much of the details yet, but I'm sure it will not surprise you. Because yeah, the casting announcement for that originally was like, a bunch of famous names who definitely only like a couple of them ever have done voice acting even. And definitely not much of the cast, the cast of the game. That's mostly been that information slowly come over time. And only because fans were like, where are all the voice actors? Who knows if they were even originally cast as those characters that they ended up getting to play. Definitely worse things going on in the world, but that's just one that frustrates me. Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't need to let it frustrate me. I can just not watch the fucking movie. I don't need to have a take on the movie. I have a take on enough of it. I have enough of a take already. I don't, need to go analyze this Mario movie for some kind of like social contract of, well, you can't talk shit about it because you didn't watch it. I don't fucking care. Look who you're talking to. I didn't even do my pitch. Yes, these shirts that I am wearing, I have 3 of them available currently. They are my paint shirts, and they will be coming to you unwashed because the paint will come off of them, and also I know some of you might be into that. So, yeah, they're frameable pieces of art. I think little abstract for your wall if that's something you dig on. But yeah, you could also grab my DNA and clone me and do a whole like weird science thing, and that'd be funny for me. I would think that's entertainment. I would enjoy that. Yeah. It will include water and you can grow your own art goblin. Absolutely, Sam. Great point. Okay. So the chin is basically symmetrical at this point. I'm going to stop touching it and smooth it out once it starts drying a little bit more. But it is kind of looking like a tongue. I kind of love it. It's serious. Though I wish retainer. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah. Man. Either I put them on this way or they slumped while they were drying at one point, but the lips are definitely like a little bit ajar here. Which is funny because so is my fucking mouth. um, I've had enough uh, jaw injuries and things like that that I kind of talk out one corner of my mouth. Honestly, it didn't it wasn't something I started noticing happening, and I don't know if they're actually related. But when I was like 18, yeah, fresh graduated out of high school, I went home to visit my old buddies. I was in Santa Rosa, but they were all up in Redding. Went home, visited, and one of the things I did with one of my good friends, I went and got my lip pierced right in the center. God, this might even been before I started college. Um, so I got my lip pierced, and uh, basically ever since then, I kind of do the thing where you talk out of the corner of your mouth, like when I'm not thinking about it and stuff. Uh, yeah, there will always be like this little keloid right here in the center of my mouth. So I don't know. I probably not related, but it wasn't something I noticed myself doing until after the piercing. You know, it looks cool and all, but I don't recommend it if you are thinking about getting yourself pierced. Unless you're like about that life, don't do it. A lot of weird stuff. And if you do it, go to someone who's really good at it. Like pay. Don't find the cheapest piercer apprentice that's been doing this for 3 weeks or whatever. Not to denigrate anybody's talent or labor. You could be doing this 5 minutes and be one of the best or whatever. I don't know, probably. Hypothetically. Um, but yeah, find someone who knows what they're doing. That would be my recommendation. As someone who really enjoyed the piercing, thought it was like an aesthetic, and also really I liked a lot about it. But yeah, you know who doesn't like it is people who want to give you a job. They think it sucks and they don't want it. I think that a lot of that's changed since when I had it, but it also, yeah, it's kind of a process that if you don't know what you're doing, you could really do some damage to people. Well, I don't have other stuff to do on this thing. I think we're basically done. Fuck. That's wild. I think obviously I need to add more of this hair texture into the chin when I get a chance, but I won't have that chance until this dries a little bit more. No, mutton chops is not the look. I might even do something else with the cheeks now that they're there. I don't think I have enough paint for what my brain's thinking. Hmm. Trip. There's some spots that could be evened out, but I don't know. Kind of perfect as is. What do you think, chat? I'm really liking this. I don't think like it would be that easy to actually mess up a lot of this stuff, but I know it'd be like anguishing for millimeters. That sounds like not something I want to do. Yeah. Yeah. Holy shit. Okay. I'm gonna call it. We're done here. Not with the stream, with the mask. I just need to wait for it to dry. That's gonna take a while. So, yeah. What else can I do right now? I think I could start painting. It's not unrealistic. I really didn't think we would get here today. I thought I'd end up in another place like I was last week around doing the same inch and a half of mask over and over again. So yeah, I wasn't expecting this. But we're here. I guess I should start painting it. I know kind of what I want to do already. I'm just gonna get some gold paint. I'll be right back. Hear that? Yeah, I don't know if you could hear that, but it was a good sound. So I thought I would try and share. Let me try again. How about that time? Oh no. Okay, well. Oh. Well, I've got a wild hair. I'm just gonna go for it. So we'll try again later, maybe, if you're asking for it, audience. Oh boy, look at this chonker. Thick ol' ream of paint around the spot where it spurt. The spurt spot. Probably should have kept this brush dry, but is what it is. We're just going for it, baby. You know what? I'm gonna start a little tester on the back just to make sure that that's gonna look fire. Okay. Oh, you know what? I think I can give you a view of this. I think she's essentially safe for here. Yeah. Cool. I think for future layers, I might start mixing this gold with a little bit of light blue and a little bit of red, depending on what area I'm going to be painting in. Sorry. Yeah. The gold against this green is actually really lovely. I don't know if I actually said it out loud or if I was just thinking it last week, but this color green is kind of like oxidized metal, kind of a similar shade. So I thought gold would go pretty well on top of it. I am pretty happy with the result here. Obviously, we're going to have to do a couple layers to get it actually covered. This gold paint doesn't necessarily lay on top very strong. Okay. It's actually really lovely. That whole feel about the oxidized metal just kind of being accented by this gold paint. Really love that. Might actually mix a little medium in here. Oh, oopsie. Evidently that did end up resting on some wet paint. Oh well. I'll live. Oh man, it's been a couple weeks since y'all got to see how shaky my damn hands are. I don't know if you're even catching it, but damn. Just had like full on like involuntary convulsing happening. At least part of that I was moving a lot of heavy stuff last night. Kind of in a hurry. Because of all the leaks. That'd be part of why my hand's so shaky today. Luckily, our maintenance guy did come by in the early afternoon today. Take a look at what happened. Hopefully they'll have someone in to fix it within a couple days of now. The maintenance guy's cool. Landlord, well, I don't like none of them. Going on the shirt. Where did I touch it? Oh, I see. All over. Great. All right, let's fix it. Oh boy. Well, I'll tell you what. At least you'll be able to see what I was just painting. Turn it around for you, because I need to work on it this way anyway. Ah. Not too deep there, boyo. Dang, yeah. That light is really bright. Is it even possible to see the gold in there? Or is it just like absolutely so blown out? Good, good. That's the only slide I've done so far. Let me see if I can do this so that you guys can see this. Yeah, I think we can make it work. Usually I have this light like the full room length away from me. Or no, I usually have it right behind me. I think that's one of the bigger points of difference here is that usually the light's behind me. But I actually have two solid light sources right now, which is wild. I usually don't. This is actually our dining room. So I don't usually use this spot for streaming because it's so kind of in everybody's way. I haven't been able to put the room back together yet. The one where I usually record. Do, 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 do. Yeah, how's that view for y'all? Fair. Apologies. All right. Right. Okay. Might need a little bit bigger brush. Get this paint off of this brush first. Yeah, this should work. It's lovely. That feels so much better. I just went for a little flat brush. It is doing the job beautifully. Sorry for all the grunting and groaning today. Not my usual painting position. Like the hunchback over here. Dang, speaking of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, y'all know the whole Lon Chaney story? Lon Chaney was a pretty interesting dude, and because he came from theater, was often left alone to do his own prosthetics and makeup for a lot of the monster movies and stuff like that that he was in. The products they used at the time were such that for a lot of those, like Phantom, it was wait, Phantom. Am I thinking Phantom of the Opera? Anyway, I've got this story all mixed up. Anyway, none of that matters. My favorite Lon Chaney story is when he told his son, Lon Chaney Jr., to not follow in his footsteps as an actor, and got really pissed off when he did. He was like, I'm not helping you. You're not going to be a nepotism baby. And then Lon Chaney Jr. Played the Wolfman, and like I liked the Wolfman, but that guy made a career out of playing the Wolfman, and didn't really ever try to be like an actor. And his dad always kind of like thought that was pathetic, I think. Anyway, hilarious. I wish there were more actors like that today. I do think I want a little red mixed into this now that I've got it on here. Maybe I'll do that for my next layer. See, gonna have to grab my little clean brush. Just fix that little gooper there. There we go. Little gooper, little blooper. All better. I'm sorry, little gooper sounds definitely like something else. Dang. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, along with all of the like the rain stuff going on in the apartment, the neighbors above us, we think, have been doing a bunch of like renovating or just moving around dead bodies. We're not really sure, frankly, but making a lot of noise upstairs, doing some weird stuff that sounds like dragging heavy like objects around and who knows what, drilling and electric saws. It's been days of this stuff. Oh, we're going a little bit mad over here. Can't tell if it's like the actual maintenance people or if it's just like the people who live in that apartment. Either way. All right. Here. Oh, fuck. I'm getting Green Ranger a little bit. Okay. Well, for my next layer, I definitely going to mix a little bit of color into that. Let me go get that. I might actually throw a little bit of medium into the gold paint as well. Hmm. Whatever red I use is going to darken up considerably, even though the gold feels light. It's basically a light brown. So I don't want to go too bright with it, but I also don't want to go too dark. Where do I want the color like that? Trying to visualize before I get in over my head here. Also, what medium? That's a good question too. We had that black lava medium we used early on in the mask. I don't know if you can still see it anywhere even, now that I'm thinking about it. I was going to do that as the last layer. Huh. I don't think it works with the gold. Alright, well this is copper. And it needs to do a little bit of copper. Find that out of it. Did it cut me off at all just now? My phone started ringing. Who calls me? Okay, good. Good. Oh, right, medium. Medium. Do I just want gloss? It's already gonna be plenty shiny. I think predominantly what I'm trying to do is just cover a little thicker. I want to thicken this up. Maybe I should just use the molding paste. You know what? I'll be right back. Okay. All right. Well, that helps me make a decision. I only have a couple different mediums left to my disposal. Let's do a little tester. I don't even know how this light glue. It's like really thick right now. I don't know how it's gonna turn out. Especially when mixed with gold. I think it might make some really funky color. But just gonna do a little splotch over off to the side. Just kind of pick up a little gold with my brush. Oh, I don't hate this. It's gonna come off like its own like tarnished kind of silvery color. Oh, that's okay. Good. That's good. So when mixed with blue, it'll almost make this almost iron-like kind of color, especially when mixed with the gold. It's gonna be lovely. Much like it's way not silver. I don't know if there's another way to put that. Like, you know, silver tends to be really luminescent. It's bright. It's shiny. In certain lights, it looks like gold. This would be hard to mistake as like the color gold, no matter what light you're seeing it in. It's really interesting. Okay. Okay, let's do my tester for red now. This Venetian red. I think I kind of decided it'd be a nice intermediary. And this is looking exactly like I thought it would. Red is definitely taking over. We'll have to use a lot more gold than I thought we would. But it's going to turn out to be a very nice, like, kind of bronzy color. use a lot of gold to get where I'm at, or where I want to be with that. Guess I'm just mixing it now. Maybe I could have gone a little lighter. All right. No, that's perfect. That's fucking perfect. Okay. Oh, right. I needed that. Huh. Fake out. Lovely. Yeah, the only issue is that metallic color is so in. Like barely wants to exist. Meanwhile, this copper is thick as a biscuit. That's okay. Yeah, grab that copper just to play around with it a little. But it might actually turn out to be the better option for this task. We're going to do another layer of this gold because I already spurted it out the tube. But like I said, it's so thin that it can kind of just be layered over and over again. Not too worried about overusing it. You know what's lovely about this gold is it does dry a lot darker than it goes on. A lot more lustrous. Is lustrous a word? I don't think it is. I just made that one up. Just for you, audience. Did it for you. Yeah, that's already a lot better. Okay, have a second while I wait for that to dry. Wait for everything else to dry. Play the waiting for paint to dry game. Let's see if I can't make us all feel a little bit better about this lighting situation here. Nope. My headphones tried to escape, but I had stopped them. W in the chat. Oh, come on. Just a little more. No, it's not going to do it. Yes. Yes. All right, I know what to do. I'll be right back. Super blown out. That feels better. Hey. That do look a little better, don't it? All right. Well, while this is going to take a second to dry, I'm going to cover my paint with some of my trusty dusty knives. I'm going to go pee. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. buds. In case you missed my intro, my Venmo, my link should be available in chat if you are feeling like donating a little bit to the cause. We're going through some rough financial times over here in Los Angeles, and could really use the help. I also have art available. You can find it on my Instagram, as well as comics and magic cards, and my partner is selling some clothes. And yeah, your support would mean the world to us right now. It really, really, truly, and honestly would. We're only about $400 away from making our rent and utilities for the next month. So we're very close, and we still have another 20 days, I think, to get there. So even just if you can't donate, if you could just share some of the work we're putting out, some of the stuff we're putting on for sale, mean a lot. Send it to a friend who collects comics or magic cards or any of the stuff we're doing. Yeah, any support means the world right now. So don't be afraid if you feel like any contribution you might be able to donate or give from the goodness of your heart. Anything that you can do would be incredible for us right now. So thank you very much. And now that I've done my little spiel again, I'm going to get back to painting. I think most of this is now dry because it was just such a light layer. And yeah, I think the inside of the eyelids are a little bit, are still a bit wet. But I think the chin, I'm going to test this real quick. Fingers crossed, everybody. This might go very bad. Yes, I think it's ready for sculpting. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get into that. I think I can do it like I was doing it a little bit ago, where I just turn it face you. And now you can see it pretty good here. Awesome. We changed the lighting up so that you're better able to kind of see what I'm doing. And everything's not all blown out looking. So on break, I was just talking to my partner and Sam. And yeah, this is definitely something I'm really proud of. I think some of the best work I've done. So I think it has a lot of the trademark kind of visceral reaction and almost like horror-like feelings that most of my previous work kind of has as well. But there's something beautiful here as well. Something very reflective of kind of the state I'm in and who I am. I even have been continually switching around the like whether or not I'm calling it she or he or they. Kind of changes every time I'm referring to it, which is very me. Yeah, the green and the gold are definitely doing it. Power Rangers. It's doing Green Ranger. You know, R.I.P. To Jason. No, is it Jason Frank? Yeah, I believe that's his name. He recently passed. Interesting dude. I don't know if all of you know this, but he actually was trying to fight MMA for a while. Like as far as celebrities who try and get involved in that certainly was pretty qualified for it, and he didn't do as badly as I think most people thought he would do. Um, pretty remarkable. I mean, obviously with Power Rangers, had a martial arts background, although if you know how that show was made, you know that wasn't always them doing the stuff. But they did all have a background in some kind of physical kind of movement. I only because I think most of them had actual martial arts backgrounds in some way or another. But I think, but for the Pink Ranger, the original Kimberly Pink Ranger, um, who had her background in gymnastics, which is why that character tended to do like handsprings and flips and things like that a little bit more than the rest of them. You know, there's something about that show. I mean, obviously, it's had so many different manifestations of those characters, of those powers, really, um, over the years. And I stopped watching in 1994, probably. You know, forever ago, when I was still a kid. Not because I didn't like it anymore, but because it was one of those shows that was kind of hard to keep up with. Like, you didn't have to know continuity, but if you know me at all, you know that I had to know the continuity, which made it hard for me to continue watching the show once they got past like stuff I knew. In fact, a lot of the Green Ranger stuff I didn't like even see for the first time until I was in my 20s. Watching it back with my brother and our roommate when we were all living together. Actually, you know who I'm talking about, Zach, the DM of the Ironhearts, our D&D campaign that we've been playing for years. That's Zach. Yeah, we lived together for, a lot of years. I think around 10 years by the end of it. And, yeah, that guy saw me through a lot of rough times. Was always there. Always has been. One of the best human beings I know. You know, I've been talking a lot about my fundraising stuff, but I know that any people who want to go and buy the Ironheart shirt, any and all funds we make off of those shirts go directly to Zach. He's been having some housing issues up in where he lives, Northern California, and yeah, I know any purchases of those shirts would mean a lot to the guy right now. So, you know, if you can help me out, if you can help Zach out, you really, honestly, if you can help both of us out, it would, yeah, like I said, it would mean a lot right now. Oh yeah, I mean, you probably can't talk too much about it if you were involved with it, but I saw all of that. You guys had your own little uh, couple days late January uh, riots happen. Pretty wild. That affect your day to day at all? I hope you are well. I hope you that after all that you are safe and you're not dealing with any after effects of it. And I appreciate you keeping us in the loop. Yeah. Good, good, good. Glad to hear it, my friend. Super glad to hear it. I'm just putting some finishing touches on this mask, really. Um, I'm nearing the finish line with this thing. I honestly, I thought I would be in another situation like I was last week where I was. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a hell of a perspective. Way to look on the bright side of things. Yeah. You know, if nothing else, there was a little bit of knowledge gained. I've seen a lot of commentary about it. Um, Definitely was a hot topic for a lot of the streamer community on Twitch here and on YouTube. Yeah, we're painfully stupid, okay? As a country, the United States is woefully misinformed. I shouldn't say stupid. We are continually being swallowing the heavy amount of propaganda fed to us. Very little of it actually informational or educational in any stretch of the imagination. Very frustrating. Yeah, I should probably couch a lot of my thoughts on how I feel about all of that a little bit, you know, but mostly just because, like, I will say that because the American public education system doesn't really teach us anything about the world, especially not outside of the US, and even what we learn about this country is heavily skewed and frankly incorrect in a lot of cases. Um, so a lot of people had to educate themselves on certain things, and I can tell you that because of the internet, especially when I was growing up, a lot of people have some very wrong ideas about the world and about humanity, about society. And that is one of the things that frustrates me the most. You know, I definitely was one of those people at a certain point in my life. I think I've talked quite a bit about how when I was younger, I was heavily sold on the conspiracy theory nonsense. Um, Even recently remembering that at one point I was for sure subscribed to, or not subscribed, but following InfoWars on Facebook back in the day. So I have a certain amount of understanding and empathy for people kind of taken in by these people. But I also find it very hard to converse with them about my feelings about this because they are so sold into these conspiratorial ways of viewing the world, and it is hard for anyone to convince them that what they learned had a reason for misinforming them, had was intentionally trying to sell them a version of the world uh, and that their intentions are very, very bad, attempting to try and get you more angry and just overall less informed about the world, about history, about society. So it's one of those things I've thought about trying to kind of talk about, specifically considering how much of my life I mean, this is over a decade of my life that conspiratorial kind of perspectives and occult nonsense permeated a lot of my belief systems. And it took me a long time to get where I am, but the things that like helped me aren't necessarily useful to prescribe. Reading theory and getting involved in your community, because in a lot of ways, well, I guess what it ultimately comes down to is the fact that can't like I wouldn't have stopped believing in this if I didn't see the flaws in it and want to. It's like any kind of change. You can't force a person to do it. They have to want that change. And I think there's a certain level of like being brought to the place where you want to change, where you feel like that was the last straw. It's time to really inform myself. I think there's a certain level of that is required. But yeah, that's ultimately the same thing, I believe. That wanting to change and recognizing that you've been misled, it's hard. Honestly, a lot of those kind of my inspirations for kind of unlearning a lot of that stuff was hand in hand with my sobriety. I developed a lot of those beliefs because I was constantly drunk and angry for many years of my life. And that had a pretty big part to play in uh, how much time and effort I devoted into learning the truth. How much of that was motivated by my anger, and the awareness that we're being lied to. I always, through all that period, still considered myself an anarchist, but you would have been hard pressed to find an explanation for what that even meant out of me for a number of those years. I learned a little bit of like leftist theory from a dear friend of mine and a previous guest on the show, my friend Seth, who talked about his Pokemon theory for a while. I would love to have Seth back on someday. We'll have to get around to that soon. I think they might be ready for that soon, but we'll keep you informed. Seth might need to have a good, fun concept like last time before he wants to come back on. We'll see though. God, I would love to have him on and talk about this sci-fi story that he broke with me a number of years ago. I mean, by himself, me just listening. When we were just talking on our Facebook Messenger, he just, Seth's the type of person who will, very similar to last time, just be like, hey, did I ever tell you about this thing? And I most of the time will just be like, no, you've internalized this for the 20 years we've known each other. And Seth will just go off on, in the case of our last episode, we did together the Pokemon theory. But sometimes it's just this story that has been sitting in Seth's mind for years and years and years that he slowly develops. He doesn't always write these ideas down. They just kind of live and evolve in his head, which is something that I get to a certain extent. Like, I definitely do to a certain extent, but nothing on the magnitude that Seth does. It's pretty incredible. I would love to have him on and talk about some of that stuff, because some of his story ideas are, maybe we shouldn't have him on. We should just start making it as a movie or something. But the guy is truly brilliant. creative mind. Where was I going? Yeah, ultimately, Seth introduced me to Marxist theory. The Manifesto, Capital, etc. We were 18, 19 years old, and these are just were things that Seth had been hyperfixating on. Marxism was a big big part of his life still is, obviously. But yeah, he was one of the only people I'd known who read political theory, and kind of the idea kind of blew my mind. And through him, I met a number of other wild punk dudes that I used to run with, and a lot of them had read theory, or were at least more well versed in a lot of those in theory than I was. It was inspiring, and that's kind of was my introduction to it. But this would be years until it combined with my sobriety kind of helped me become who I am now, Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, feel free to spam all of the recommendations you have. Bakunin is a great example. I'm a big fan of Kropotkin. I think Emma Goldman's fantastic. What I've been wanting to try and find more of, and is a lot of because there were so many people, especially during the American Civil Rights protests and that whole movement. There weren't a lot of there were some, but there's not a ton of those, especially the very radical people from that movement that got a chance to write their interpretations and additions to a lot of theory. Again, there's some out there, but it's a lot of what you have to do is find their speeches, and that's where a lot of the bulk of their work kind of lives on. I think a lot of that stuff's really beautiful. But yeah, it definitely was a big factor in kind of once I had learned kind of some of the realities of our history as a country, I wanted to know more about how to change that. What can we do? How can we avoid these mistakes in the future? And that how I found myself getting through a lot of theory, trying to figure out better ways to not just view history, but how we can be part of positive change for the future. A lot of my best buds are pops now, parents, and I don't think I'll ever have kids, but hey, down. But I gotta tell you, some of my friends, especially my buddy Dan, who I've known since I was 3 years old, I sometimes I'm just overwhelmed with the beauty that there's another one of my best friends in the world, and obviously this person has their own identity, their own agency. They're going to be whoever they want to be, but there's something about knowing that that person you knew when you were practically babies is having a baby. Kind of blows my mind sometimes. So I think about my friends' kids' future. I think about my nieces and my nephews. What's their future going to look like? And I'm also not planning on going anywhere anytime soon. I want to live in a good world too. And what we know about movements for political change, liberatory movements, is that often the change you want to see in the world is not going to take place in your lifetime. You have to you have to find a way to be okay with the fact that the things that that will improve the world. Got to be okay with the fact that you might not see that change in the world before you go. I think it's, in a way, a very beautiful thing. If you're working, it's the idea of I've talked about a lot on here. The idea of service to others. It's one of the hardest parts, especially for I think people raised in this country to see as valuable as they are. We're such a culture of individualism, which obviously everyone being able to be who they want to be, that's a very important thing. But when you start framing everything solely as an individual, you forget that there's other people in the world. There's other perspectives. There's people in and you don't have to be in competition with them. You can be in community with them. And I think the hyper individualist kind of perspective that pervades so much of the society of the United States. It's I guess it's just it's one of the big hurdles we have as a place who everyone could benefit from a much more everyone would benefit in a much more liberated society. But sometimes it makes it very difficult to convince people that not only would they be better off, but everyone else would be better off. And it's okay if you are all doing well. You don't have to exist solely for competing against your fellow humans. In fact, it is much more beneficial for us all to work together to solve the problems we all face. Little guy, get out of here. He's going after the quartz. And my paintbrushes. Come here. Come here. Yeah. Oh, hi, buddy. Oh, is it roughhouse time? Sorry, guys, it's roughhouse time. Depending on what his next move is, I might have to put him away. So be prepared for me to disappear quickly and for seemingly no reason. Now you know. Now you know. Hey! Now the other one's trying to eat stuff off the counter. Get out! Sorry. Get down from there. You little goofballs. Alright, we got the squirt bottle. Now we're good. Okay. So. Yeah, we were definitely jamming for a minute. So, we've got the chin mostly worked out. I think I was afraid of going into it a couple of spots earlier, so we're just gonna kind of continue to blend it. Looks pretty damn good though. Yeah, they're good boys. They're good boys. They are cats though, and that makes them little rascals. They know when you're concentrating on something and it's near food time, time to play disruptor. Time to be a little goofball. Guaranteed attention. Yeah. I do love cats. Which is funny. I used to be one of those weird people that didn't like cats. Criminal, I know. Ooh. Ah, this looks so funny, I'm sure. Come on. There we go. Had to blend this little, there's a little ridge over there. Need to make sure it was lovely. Now it's lovely. I have to get into a really tight space. I have to use my pinkies, and it definitely feels funny and goofy. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. That looks pretty solid. Hey, no, no, no. Get out of there. No eating the cords. That's not good for you. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna look at this now. Straight on. I haven't done that in a minute. Okay. The gold is subtle. I think I want something else though. What do I want? I don't think I want to change too much of the color. If I do these little wings on the cheeks. It's like the opposite end of this color spectrum would be like kind of an orangey red, I think. think that's what I might do around here. Maybe even more closer to a pink. Do I want pink? That's gonna be really contrasty. No, yeah. Totally. Watermelon, yeah. Sam is saying it could end up being real watermelon-y. I think it's very true. You know, I have that Venetian red and gold mixture that I made up earlier. Let me just see what that looks like real quick. Does look really nice. Hey, what are you doing, little guy? Get away from the coffee. You don't drink coffee. You're too little. Okay. It does look very, like, it's just very brown. Like, it's a light brown. It kind of brings out a more bug-like appearance, I think. Oh, little man. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. Jump up. Good job. Say hello. Hello. Yeah, you're just a little guy. Come on. But I think he can be chill here for a minute. Oh, are you going at my headphones? Don't you dare. Don't you dare, little guy. Oh, now he's smacking me in the face with the tail. Oh, boy. All right. Well, I'll be right back. I'm going to take this little guy to his bedroom. Oh, the baby. Okay, come here. Oh. Come on. Go down to Papa's room. Good job. Oh, what a precious little guy. Absolute chaos. Okay. I'm still just doing a little testers here and there. Let me see. Is this copper still wet? Or did it dry out already? Let's find out. Okay. That's good. It's not quite what I'm looking for. It's actually. We try. You know, there's so much I don't enjoy about life. You gotta appreciate the little things, right? That means paint makes you giggle. You know, I guess that's just who I am. Okay. Go back into my big old box of paint colors. Try and find another friend of ours. I put so much into it. To look as good as it possibly can. And that sometimes means just fucking around. Just fucking around. And that's kind of just what we're doing. Just fucking around. There you are. I'm gonna see what this bronze we've got, which is much darker. almost has kind of a blue hue to it. Let's see what this looks like on there. Yeah. I think the only issue is they're all just coming out less. I want them to be a little bit more red. Even the one we added red to and is kind of overwhelmingly red is still reading very brown on this piece. That's not just the lighting. So what if I just used a red? Let's find out. I'm gonna just go back into that Viridian? No, Venetian. Venetian red we messed around with earlier. That is actually pretty good. I'm gonna grab one more color. Perfect, I knew exactly where it was. Kind of a miracle, really. Cleaning off this brush. Oh, oopsie. Made a commitment with that drip. So this is just a little bit of crimson, but from a different paint company entirely. Oh. Okay, that's delicious. We're using that. Let's see how it looks with this gold, though. Just grab a little dot. See what it looks like. Okay. Get a little more on there. Nope, too much. Damn. That's it. Okay, cool. So a little bit of gold, a whole lot of crimson. And that's what we're going to do for those cheekbones. Or fins. Cheek fins. Fin bones. Oh, what did it look like with the copper, though? Grab some. Okay, that's nice. Let's do that instead of the gold. Actually, that's a great idea. Put our little tester brush away. Try and scrape off this gold. Back where I've already set all that gold paint. See if it won't dry out, because we might still need it. No, we'll definitely still need it. Okay, so you're just going to flop our trusty dusty palette knife on top of that. I think I'm just going to leave the gold on here, because there was a little bit of gold in that mixture that I liked so much. Let's pull a bunch of crimson over. Grab a little copper. Get on the brush. There we go. What's weird is it kind of just made it a little pinker, but not like a rose kind of pink. You know what I mean? Not like a weird, kind of unnatural, like fluorescent. But it also wasn't coming off as brown. Really interesting. So, trying to mix a little bit right here. Using a different palette, honestly, because of what happened, the leaks in the apartment, I couldn't find my palette paper that I usually use for this. So, hopefully that will return by our stream next week. Oh, yeah, that's dynamite. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Luckily, this paint is much, much thicker than that gold I was using, so I'm probably going to be doing this in less than a couple passes. Makes me glad I didn't commit to much more paint on this palette board. Oh, so lovely. Do you see that shake? Oh my god. Might have to move this just a little bit further out so that my elbow can rest on the table. Okay. Marvelous. Thank you, Sam. Damn. Okay, cool. That's almost dead on. Can y'all see this color on here? Guess there's a lot of shadow being cast from all of this direct light, but right here on the inside. Okay, I'm very happy with this. Yeah. Okay. Let's just cover up the backs real quick. I don't think that's even something I'm gonna like. It's not gonna be super seen, but I think it'll look nice. I wouldn't have thought crimson. In fact, I specifically looked at crimson earlier and was like, nah, I won't need it. How wrong I was. But it does give me that like kind of like hitting more of that insect kind of vibe that I was talking about earlier. Or I don't even know if it was earlier this stream, but in previous streams for sure. I think, yeah, for a second it was like perfect cell. This is the comparison I was going with. Or no, I think it was second cell. Not second, not third or final. All right. Had to mix up a little bit more, a little bit more of this copper and crimson. Copper and crimson. That's actually, that would be a sick band name. I'd go see them. He's coming with me this weekend to see Copper and Crimson. I'm gonna play the whole album of Metalloid Brothers. Their first EP. It's gonna be sick. Yeah, I'd be at that show. Don't touch the chin. Don't touch the chin. You know what? I just realized this is probably going to be better if it faces you, my friends. Oh, wow, it's so bottom heavy. It barely wants to stay up. So stoked. This looks so good. Sorry to toot my own horn, but I'm gonna. Oh, are we already at 6 or 6:30? It's at 6 o'clock. Okay. Yeah, let's call it at 7 tonight then, because I am have again not eaten before stream. So yeah, we're gonna be on here for another half hour, and we're gonna bid you adieu for the evening. Oh, interesting thing that happened to me in the last couple of days was my brother started talking about the Punisher. It's an interesting character, one that we both really enjoyed, especially when we were younger. But a character that kind of persists in our imagination either way. And I kind of devised an interesting way to make like a very specifically like anarchist, anti-fascist kind of version of the Punisher. Because it's so frustrating to see that character co-opted by people who love cops. It's just weird and wrong. So we've been kind of like texting back and forth these ideas we have for Punisher comic that maybe we'll call something else, and then maybe someday put it out into the world. Who knows? Might just be something that we enjoy doing together. We've me and my brother have made a lot of interesting creative projects together over the years. We were the same kind of creative weirdo. So when we were growing up, we used to make movies together and write stories. There was even a point when everyone was really into wrestling where that's like what I thought I was going to do with my life. I thought I was going to be a pro wrestler. We we had a trampoline and we used to go out there for hours and hours, and like at one point we had a whole routine, like a whole like 3.5, 5-minute match. We had worked every detail out. We had costumes for it. And yeah, I think during the summer one year we like, all right, Mom, we're gonna put on a show. We're gonna do some wrestling on the trampoline. You're invited. So, that was, just one of the many fun, interesting, weird things me and my brother did together. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't kidding though. I really wanted to do it. I thought, I mean, there's still a part of me that's like, you can probably do it though. I just, I think it's a similar kind of thing, like, well, very different, but kind of similar to my feelings about like mixed martial arts. It's just like, where do you even go? Making a living at those professions is arguably even harder than it is making it as most other kinds of artists, especially if you have a brain like mine that wants where you're working to have a certain amount of ethics and not work for people like in MMA, the biggest organization, it's UFC, and working for Dana White. Well, I think the whole world knows why that's a bad idea. And then there's for wrestling, it's Vince McMahon, and I mean Vince McMahon is almost literally the same person as Dana White. So it's like, there's not much growth as like making it your career unless you're willing to, really trudge through the muck for it because you really love it. Which is the boat I would be in, or you join the big organizations that are terrible, run by terrible people, make lots of gross, unethical decisions that affect people under their employment. And yeah, I think when you realize that, well, shit, I'm not really, I wouldn't want to work for those people. Not maybe really doing it for the right reasons, because otherwise I'm not really that interested in doing it, trying to think of, I'm just gonna be a pro wrestler for the money. I think anybody who's ever had that thought would be laughing. Certainly not something you just you do and make money and have any kind of like sure chance of that happening. Obviously it's not the reason why it's not like I can still probably do it is like I'm an actor and I've been doing that forever, and most people in pro wrestling, that's not where they start, but it's usually where they will end up. I mean, it has to be. So much of being a good pro wrestler is knowing how to uh, sell your fights, not just like buy my pay-per-views, I'm on YouTube or whatever, but like the act of performing it, I think that's one of the biggest parts of pro wrestling is the people that are really good at it, like you believe their reactions are the worst pain you've ever seen in your life. You believe that their blows are destructive on the force of gods. Like that's what's compelling about pro wrestling is it's theater. And one of the hardest forms of theater because it's like I mean a lot of it improvised. You're just kind of like up there with a mic. You don't have time to write a speech, let alone memorize it. You just have to be in character and present whatever material, kind of like A, B, C kind of beats you need to hit, and stretch it for X amount of time. That's obviously difficult, but beyond that, it's yeah. Then you also have to do the physical portion of it, which sometimes is, I mean, some of those matches go on 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe more, depending. I can't imagine the kind of conditioning you have to be in, not just to go through that as in a as a physical activity, but to be in that place as a performer as well. So, I mean, if you've ever done any form of stage combat, you know that there's a, it's like another level. You know, it's like it's no longer like the subtleties of your movements that are selling the character and the story. It's not like picking up a little different way of walking or a slightly different vocal mannerism. Uh, you know, changing X, Y, or Z to feel more in that character and deliver that to the audience. It's now like a complete uh, hybridization of your body with this character. It's such a more it's just such a higher level of difficulty. I mean, I think dance by and large is a very similar thing, but dance is so um, not to demean anyone in musical theater because they all work their asses off, really. I mean it, but there's so much kind of like expectations that have already been set up by years and years and years of that art form kind of progressing. It's a little less raw. You definitely can put characterizations within to those dance numbers and songs, and especially with less choreographed songs, you're able to do even more. Um, but fight choreography on stage, live in front of people, it really brings that the physical aspect of that character out. You know, those are moments where if you're in a duel per se, you know, like for example, uh, that's going to be one of the like penultimate moments of that character's life, unless that's what they do, and like they are just a duelist, a gladiator of some kind. But most people, regardless of what play you're reading, you know, when they get into combat, it's uh, uh, I mean, they're literally life or death situations for the character, and that can bring out some really, really interesting parts of the character. Maybe you didn't even see at any point in rehearsal; they just come out of you. Really, really interesting stuff. Yeah, yeah. I don't. Yeah, that was no, it's me. Uh, I'm assuming it's it. Sorry, I better get that. Hold on 1 second. Oh, delivery. No, okay. I wasn't sure.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You got enough room? No, you're okay, bud. Yeah. Okay. Well, how much time do we got till 7? Oh, I missed. Yeah, okay. I was definitely off there. Yeah. Yeah. Math, who's she? Numbers, I don't know them. Yeah, then I have some more time to do some more gold up here. It's, you know what? Maybe I will hold off on that. What am I really seeing here? This interesting powder blue keeps popping up. I want to put it somewhere. I just don't know where yet. I keep thinking it wants to go somewhere near this red. Maybe on like the highlights on the top of these cheeks, you know? But I was also thinking doing a really heavy layer underneath the nose to kind of almost like give that kind of like, you know, those bright colors you often see associated with reptiles or insects. It's like stay away, you know, like a kind of the color defense. Can't remember what the biological like term for it is, but yeah. Hmm. Realized I said I was going to do the blue, and I picked up my red again. Expect the unexpected. Ah, I gotcha. Nope. I was gonna try and do that with my left hand, but I decided that was stupid instead. I was feeling brave for a second though. I really like that. Okay. I know I've said that like 300 times. I'm really happy I came to this color. Okay. Ba, ba, ba. I guess I should do something on the lips, right? Might draw more attention. I'm trying to hide them right now. But the asymmetry, like I was saying, definitely like makes sense for me. Yeah, I mean, hiding them is a interesting way of putting it. Oh, oh well. Hmm. Maybe I'll use some of that light blue I was talking about. Maybe that's where it wants to go. Ah, piss. All right, we have to go to emergency surgery. Our patient has been punctured by a foolish doctor. Call me Frankenstein. I just maimed this man. All right. It's okay. It's not gonna be perfect. That's never my expectation. Yeah. Oh no! Some of this paint's starting to dry on my palette knife. Get it wet. Get it wet. Okay, that should be good now. Hi, Sam. I think you smelled whatever is mixed in with this medium and was very curious about why it was in his house. Okay, it's fine. You know what, actually? Really lightly run the brush over it, and that'll help kind of all that. Being comfortable with each other. Yeah, perfect. But some of the drier bits, it's not even going to interact with that. Beautiful. Love it. Okay. All right. What I think I want to do with this remainder, with the remainder of this green I have. Right. Well, I do know that I want to apply some pretty gently to the lips. To even out a lot of that texture. Companies went so quick to DMCA people because I have had the wildest mix of songs stuck in my head this entire stream. I could tell you the titles, but it wouldn't be nearly as fun as just breaking out into those songs whenever they come into my head. I could like do little bits of them. I could do little bits, but you know, that's my Sam says don't sing them too good, and that's actually my greatest flaw because I have the voice of a musical angel. I'm kidding. I don't really. I have, I shouldn't demean myself either because I do have a decent voice, but definitely all like. When did I? Oh right, Boilermaker. You probably heard me sing. I forgot. Yeah, you probably yeah. And Boilermaker is actually really interesting. I mean, I that's definitely a different kind of singing. um, yeah, I that's my strength is not necessarily like singing like cardinal or whatever, but I can uh, make sounds with my mouth that a lot of singers could never. They're afraid because they're scared for good reason. I definitely did damage to my vocal cords. But you know, I did eventually learn how to do it without hurting myself, which, or at least I guess like not hurting myself as much. When I first started doing it, there were definitely shows where I could like in the back of my head where the like skull meets the spine, I could like I just remember I would at different points of shows get like this searing hot pain, this throbbing like discombobulating kind of thing that was like you were gonna pass out, you know, or I was gonna pass out. And that used to happen like every show. For at least the first I don't know, year or so we were a band. Yeah, because I you know, I had I'd never taken like singing lessons or really I'd never gotten any instruction musically. So uh, yeah, yeah. Every time I sang, it was like just you know this yeah throbbing pain and yeah. But yeah, eventually I did figure out how to do it without damaging myself every single time. But who knows what I did in that? Who knows what I did to myself at the time when I was doing it? Um, it'll always kind of be a mystery. But yeah, it's funny because like right around that time, that same time period, the band Pup, I don't know if any of you are familiar, put out "The Dream Is Over." They called that album "The Dream Is Over" because the singer Stefan, I think, um, had recently got home from tour. Was talking to his doctor. Went to go like see, or not even just his doctor. Went to go see like a specialized like doctor um, to look at his vocal cords because he had been experiencing a lot of discomfort. They'd been playing shows on tour for years at that point, and that's when the doctor told him, "The dream is over. You're, you know, you could die if you keep singing the way you're singing." And um, obviously, he made a lot of changes after that to uh, his performance and the way he wrote songs uh, to deal with that issue. But I always felt a little better knowing I wasn't alone. You know, I didn't have the doctors telling me, but I was telling me. um, you know, can't keep doing this to yourself, dude. I don't even like it was a very it wasn't even like a process that I could really even explain except for I just like learn more about how to use my voice, you know? Like how I could do a lot of the really extreme stuff without feeling discomfort, without losing breath, where to place the voice. I'd been an actor forever at this point. I knew a bit about how to project and how the diaphragm worked and stuff like that, kind of out of consequence of my experience with theater. Um, Obviously, yeah, this was a whole new level kind of control. I mean, I never really did any musical theater. Um, just wasn't like, I'm not really that kind of actor. It's not something that really uh, I was interested in. I've never really wanted to be a professional in theater. I always wanted, as an actor, theater was a means to an end. So it helped me stay acting, gave me experience acting, but it was never what I wanted to do as an actor. Movies were always where my heart, well, where my heart will always be. So yeah, musical theater was never really my jam. Obviously, there's no shortage of musicals coming out now, but back when I was like in high school, and all there really was Moulin Rouge and Chicago. Those are both plays that they made into movies. And many of the actors involved were given a lot of vocal training and dance training before the film ever rolled a single frame. So I figured, I'll get there. I'll get to a point where they'll just pay for me to go to one of the leading dance instructors on the planet for a few months and learn how to sing and dance and all that stuff. That's how my life will go. Spoilers, it didn't. But honestly, for the better. God knows where I would be if all of my dreams came true as soon as I wanted them to. Who knows who I would be? I wouldn't like me, that's for sure. It's funny. I'm reminded of a conversation I had a long time ago with a good friend of mine who was dating this dude who went to art school, and like we were hanging out kind of after he was living in another city, so they had some time away from each other, and she was just confiding in me, man, the people that he hangs out with, they're so fucking annoying. Like, can you imagine like being around like beautiful art all day every day and just having no respect for it, not caring about any of it, and all you want to do is provide your little one-upsmanship kind of version of critique to this kind of stuff, like beautiful works of art. Like, you learn so much about the techniques and yada yada that it doesn't seem like it's even fun. The only part that they're enjoying at that point is being mean about it, is trying to have the best take. It's like Weston. It's like if you went to art school. Which it definitely was one of the most backhanded compliments. But because we know each other so well, I knew exactly what she meant. I always have like been pretty stubborn and opinionated about my beliefs, and especially where like my criticisms of media are concerned. But I think anybody who knows me knows that it's coming from a genuine place. It's coming from a place that loves loves the medium of film, loves painting, loves art, loves creation, and loves artists. And as much as I don't think many of us, if any, really can get away from that mentality of like constantly feeling like you're in competition when resources are so limited. I think that it's definitely one of those things that I strive towards, like, because I recognize I never want to be like the people doing things like me are anything but my community. The people that have made incredible, difficult decisions to just do it, against all societal obligation, against all recommendation from your peers and parents and loved ones. I'm an artist. It's what I do. It's what I'm going to do. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be painful. It's going to take forever to get anywhere. But what else can I do? This is who I am. powerful shit. And I never want to feel like those people are not, you know, my comrades. We're all in this together, you know. And I think the people that, well, I was gonna say the people that succeed don't feel that way, but obviously they do. It's just that I feel like the people who do it best tend to see it that way, or the people that maybe just I appreciate the most see it in a way that I see it, and I can feel that in their performances. You know, I feel like I could give 1,000 examples of this, but ultimately that's not the point. You know, the point is that um, this is my foundational belief that I have. You know, people should be able to make a living doing art, and it shouldn't be like this stratified end of society that you can only get to, you know, once you've sold your soul and have invested millions of dollars into a system that 99% of us don't have. Like, um, yeah, it was never going to be easy, and it's never going to be easy for your friends. So all you can do is support each other, and even if you're not making a million, even if you're not making even 20 grand a year, you know what you believe, and you know who has your back. And that's more than some of us can say. To mention, like, it helps you prevent feeling in that state of mind that I feel like many artists are kind of known for, just, that point where you start seeing the selfishness of the individual. You stop seeing the artist, the art. You can only see how bitter they are, how alone, how they almost take pride in being so intolerable no one wants to be around them. No one wants to work with them, no one wants to collaborate. Yes, I am talking to you, Frank Miller. All right. Thank you, Sam. So we're in our final half hour here. Thank you all for hanging out for so long with me, watching me throw paint around. Again, I just want to direct you to my Venmo and my social medias. Feel free to contact me directly. I am watching my message requests, so don't be afraid to hit me up. I will respond, usually within 24 hours. Any DMs? And yeah, take a look at some of the stuff we're hustling right now. Our art, and our clothes, and our collections. Some of our most prized possessions. You know, gotta pay the bills, right? If you want to live indoors, which I gotta say, I kind of got accustomed to, if I'm being real with you. It's almost like it should be a human right or something. housing is integral to living any kind of life. Almost. Something like that. I don't know. Right? Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, you know, I know that I'm making it funny, I'm making it silly, but I believe I really do, in my most absurd and optimistic mind, think that it is possible for a better world. I think that a better world is possible for all of us. We might not see it in our lifetime. It is worth it to work towards as a goal in your everyday life, as an individual, but hopefully you are practicing it in community with others as well. That is monumentally important, my friends. I'm going to look at this a lot. I kind of predict not being able to wait for next week's stream to finish this. I'm already kind of seeing myself working on this all night. Maybe I'll pull myself away from that. I deserve to rest. And it's been a wild couple of days, and I can use it. Yeah, I was probably up till 3 or 4 last night, worried about all the stuff. Like, it was so weird because I was like organizing and pricing out comic books when I realized the rain had started coming through the roof. So like I was already gonna be hyper tense. Like and knowing that all of these like I'm literally looking up the Ninja Turtles books that I had and realizing these are some of them like worth a lot of money. That I you know, I suddenly my roof starts leaking literally a foot or two away from where the comic books are, and I mean just right into panic mode. Fix it, move, make not happen. Please no. Oof. Yeah. Well, I guess I still have a little bit of this green paint, and I don't want to put it back away in this plastic wrap tonight. So I'm actually going to start smoothing out the texture of these lips right now. Kind of see how it goes. Maybe we'll add some more paint to that before I get out of here tonight. Yeah, I'm definitely going to want some more paint on here. You know, I'm just going to pick it right up with my fingies. Is yeah, another wonderful moment of just random pop song entering my head. Actually, this wasn't necessarily a pop song, but it kind of is a pop song now. You know that Nick Cave song, Red Right Hand? They used it in like the Hellboy movie. They've used it in a bunch of movies at this point. That's what's coming to mind at this point. But instead of Red Right Hand, it's Wet Right Hand. Yeah. Yeah. I also don't think Nick Cave is coming after people for, although his record label might. I'm pretty sure he's on Columbia. I'm not sure though. Seems like a shoe-in for a Rick Rubin collaboration. That's all I know. Been with Columbia forever at this point. Well, they definitely look a lot smoother. Should I try and even it out? Or is it too late and I should just let it go? Man, after like 5 layers of that gold looking pretty, well, gold. Yeah, and definitely not like brown, you know? And it transitions really well into the red. Yeah, I guess what I'm really trying to avoid is just not covering up all this green because I think it's a great color. I think it works really well with the piece. But, I mean, color was integral to it coming together and looking like this, you know? Consciously or subconsciously, that was part of it. Oh, jeez. Um, I have in the past, not on these masks. For whatever reason, the dry brush or wash kind of like techniques haven't really like stuck out, I guess, as like ways to work these into the way I want them to be. I think something about the like really heavy contrast between the colors is something that keeps coming up in my head. But I've been watching my buddy develop his skill at painting minifigures over the last few years, and yeah, I definitely want to have him on at some point. He's just a super busy dude, but my buddy Charlie does these. I mean, especially the last few I've seen are just beautiful, like uses of exactly that kind of technique, dry brush and washes, and like I just like these are tiny. These are, fully articulate, like detailed figurines, like the size of this chin, basically. Maybe at the biggest, like, a few inches, but like the level of detail, the tiny little brushes, I can't even imagine. No, definitely. Yeah, no, for sure. Like it's possible, but it's so impressive to see it done on that scale, on such a tiny scale, on a miniature scale, literally. Um, just because like obviously you're not using quite as much actual materials, but the techniques are in my estimation harder to pull off. You're using these tiny little brushes, and any mistake is gonna, I mean, maybe not show up as obviously, but it's like um, the psychological effect of it, cumulatively. I feel like, especially on bigger canvases, like when I've worked on bigger canvas, it almost feels easier to just, oh, that's wrong, wipe it away. Sometimes you get a little bit of uh, a wash in a crevice and you're having to like resort to all kinds of wild stuff to get that out because it's not supposed to be there. I think that level of like focus is something I don't even know if I have it in me. So it's always super impressive. Definitely go check out Charlie Castle Miniatures on Instagram. Check out Charlie's work. He's a really good dude. Um, we used to argue about movies a lot. Charlie could tell you exactly how obstinate I am. Yeah, great dude, really talented actor as well. But yeah, I mean, Charlie's just one of those people who's really good at just about anything he does. It's pretty incredible. Great bass player. Forget about it, guy's super cool. Go give him a follow and tell him I sent you. But yeah, I guess that's about it for me today. I again want to thank you all for coming and hanging out with me while I work on this very wild mask. I appreciate you all chatting with me today and just listening to me ramble on and make weird sounds and tell you what's going on in my head. I really appreciate anybody who is thinking about donating. Even thought definitely does count. I'm counting it for you. It really means a lot. You know, we're really close. I'm very confident we're gonna make it over the finish line before February comes. But yeah, I guess I should also say if you are in the Los Angeles area and know of anybody hiring, I'm definitely looking for, you know, day jobby kind of work too, as well as all the art stuff that I am involved with. Because yeah, that's where I'm at. So again, thank you all for coming, and I will be seeing you next Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and right here at twitch.tv/nerdcraftylv. And oh yeah, thank you to all my friends over at YouTube as well. We'll have this episode out on, we're doing Monday releases, Sunday releases? Sunday, right. We'll have each of our episodes up on Sunday, so well, I guess not happy Sunday. You might be watching this on a Tuesday, a couple of days after it came out. I don't know your life. I don't pretend to assume I do. So whenever you're watching this, wherever you're watching this, thank you so much. Take care of each other, take care of yourself, and good journeys.